Hello and welcome to Thoughts Can Heal podcast. I am your host, Denise Lynn. And if you're new to my podcast, I just want to give you a very warm welcome. And if you're someone who's been following me for a while, I just want to thank you. Thank you so much from my heart for continuing to show up and allow me to share tips and tools to help you calm your nervous system down, to help you reduce stress, to ultimately help you live a happier, more abundant life because you deserve it. We all deserve that. Okay, so I wasn't sure what topic I was going to talk about today in today's podcast, and I was kind of bouncing around a few ideas, and I sat quietly for a moment, and which is something I do often, and kind of tune in and ask for guidance on, things that are relevant to other people and topics that I can share that can help other people. And a topic that I've actually done a couple podcasts on is the topic of forgiveness. And when I look back at the stats, how many people listen and downloaded my podcast episodes, the ones on forgiveness are probably the most popular. And I think it's because we all know that, I think we just intentionally know that resentment and anger and unforgiveness really don't serve us at all. In fact, they make us feel really crappy. They are very, very negative, low vibrational emotions, and they just don't serve us. And we innately know this. And so the biggest problem becomes, and the biggest question, and I've gotten it several times, is how do I forgive? All right, so again, we're going to talk about forgiveness today, and I'm going to put a couple different spins on it, things that I haven't said in the past that might even help you really hopefully get to a point where you can release these negative emotions so that you feel better, so that you are happier, so that you can make room for way better feeling emotions, higher vibrations, and ultimately live happier in your life. So I'm going to start off by saying forgiveness isn't letting somebody else off the hook. It's actually not at all for that other person. It's for you. It's absolutely for you, for your peace of mind, for your health. And there have been numerous studies, and it's scientifically proven that when we hold on to resentment and anger and unforgiveness, it actually creates diseases in our bodies. It makes us physically sick. And that's how this whole podcast and the birth of my first book, Thoughts Can Heal, 30 Daily Practices to Help Heal Anxiety, all came about. Because I realized that my thoughts were harming me. I was having fear-based thoughts. I had a panic attack while I was driving. Next thing you know, every time I get in the car, I start thinking about that panic attack, and the physical manifestation of that anxiety came out in my body. I'd start sweating, shaking, and anybody who's ever experienced anxiety or panic attacks knows it is the worst feeling ever. And it's really not so much that you're afraid of the situation. It really wasn't that I was afraid to drive. I was afraid to have another panic attack. So basically, you're worrying about worrying. And same holds true when we have these negative emotions when it comes to resentment, jealousy, unforgiveness, all those really, really low vibrational things. What ends up happening is it can cause certain stomach issues. It can create cancer. It can cause all different types of physical ailments in our bodies. And two people, none of us are the same. So if I'm holding on to resentment and unforgiveness, it might manifest, as a bad cold or, a stomach issue, a gut issue, a skin issue. And then you, who might be doing the same thing, it could manifest as something completely different. There's just no telling what that's going to happen to you physically, but do know that something will happen. So that's like the first reason to consider forgiving. And I understand more than anyone, maybe not more than anyone, but as much as anybody could, that it can be very challenging, especially if someone's done something that is just so wrong to you. And I have experienced that in my life. I absolutely have. I was unfortunately in a physical abusive relationship for almost 9 years that I could not escape because I was so fearful for my life. I have 100% completely forgiven that person because I had to. I realized that holding on to the resentment and being angry and not forgiving just wasn't doing me any good. Doesn't mean I let that person off the hook. As a matter of fact, after I forgave them, I never spoke with them again. And you can do that. If there's somebody in your life that, say it's even a family member, say it's a parent or somebody that you really truly love, but they hurt you, you can still find it in yourself to forgive them for you, for your peace of mind, for your health, for your mental well-being. That doesn't mean you have to continue to speak to them. It doesn't mean that you have to continue to put yourself in situations where you're going to be abused or mistreated. You can still forgive, send love to somebody, and just go on with your life. You don't owe anybody anything. The only person you owe anything to is that person that's looking at you back in the mirror. That's who you owe to treat yourself right, to forgive for yourself. Unfortunately, that person in my life ended up passing away. And as sad as that is, nobody wants anything to happen to anyone. When he did, I wasn't hung up on negative feelings. That forgiveness prior to him passing away freed me. It freed me. And so when he was gone, I don't continue to go over that mental story over and over again. And that's what we do. Somebody does something to us, we hang on to it. We hang on to it so tightly. We don't want to let it go. We love our negative stories. We just want to hold it. And we continue to go on tangents in our mind. Oh, I can't believe, how dare them. Oh my, blah, 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 blah. And we're living in the past. So that's another reason to forgive, because the past is over. Unfortunately, there is nothing we can do about it. The future, it's not even here yet. So it's not even real yet. So worrying about the past and worrying about the future, which we all tend to do, it's a natural human experience. It doesn't make you crazy. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It's just when you start to become aware of these things, like, oh my gosh, I'm ruminating about the past, or I'm worrying, anticipating about the future. And trust me, I'm really good at that one. But when we start to become aware that we're doing these things, we become more mindful, and we can bring ourselves back to the present moment, the moment that is just right in front of us right now. The present moment. That's all that there really is. Again, the past is over. You can live with resentment. You can live with the anger. You're going to start noticing things too, especially as you get older. When you're angry and you're holding resentment, it shows in your face. You see people, just pay attention if you're at the grocery store, out in public, and you see people who are just, shining They are not holding on to any resentment. They are not angry. They have forgiven. But then you see people with like these sourpuss faces and their frown lines, and our faces tell so much. And you could bet they're holding on to something. Maybe they've been so hurt. And I understand that. I was so hurt emotionally, physically. I mean, just torn apart. But I found it in my heart to forgive. And it honestly set me free. So, comes back to the question, how do I do it? How do I forgive this person? It sounds really great, Denise, but it's a lot easier said than done. Of course it is. But it doesn't have to be so difficult. One technique that I use, and I've had to use it for several people, unfortunately. We all do. We all, go through times in our life where either people say things or they just kind of do something rotten. And sometimes when you really look into it, first of all, we all do. We might not be aware, but we've all hurt people, whether it was intentionally or unintentionally. Maybe by just like a comment that we say that we just don't really think it through, and we say something that just maybe touches a person in the wrong way. So we're all guilty. No one's perfect here. But the one technique that has helped me the most is something that it's also in my book, Thoughts Can Heal, 30 Daily Practices to Help Heal Anxiety. And there is a exercise on forgiveness. And it's so funny, the book is in front of me and I just opened it to that page. It's day 5. And since I just opened it, I'm going to go ahead and read it for you. So day 5, titled Forgiveness. I know this is hard sometimes, but ask yourself this question. Am I ready to change my life for the better? I bet you are if you're reading this book. It's time to forgive. Remember, forgiving releases you from a prison you may not even realize you're in. Caution. Most likely, you will think the next exercise I'm going to ask you to do is ridiculous. I remember the first time I did it, I thought to myself, you've got to be kidding me. Fast forward 1 year, I now have complete peace of mind with a few people I needed to forgive. I was giving these people too much space in my mind, and doing so caused a lot of unnecessary suffering. So please, just grin and bear it. You'll thank me later. All right, here's the exercise. Send love to 2 to 3 people who are bothering you or who have hurt you. Close your eyes each day, every day you do this, and imagine just sending love and positivity to anyone who has hurt you or is just plain getting on your nerves. Forgiving does not excuse another person's behavior. It also doesn't mean that you should allow people to walk all over you. True forgiveness is for your well-being. Remember, what you put out, you get back. Stop allowing others to rent space in your mind. Let it go. All right, so that is so weird that I opened the book to that page. It's a very small book, but I don't know. I don't believe in coincidences. So, so this is something I used to do. I had a certain another person that had done some pretty hateful things to me, and it was very, very, unfortunately, very negative to me behind my back. But to my face, oh wow, sweet as pie. But behind my back, this person was really, really digging into me. And, I've done another podcast, and it's out there if you want to look back at it, where I think it's titled, People Feel What We're Thinking About Them. And I think sometimes we go a little overboard and we can be a bit paranoid, But a lot of times I do believe that intuitively we can feel what other people are feeling about us. So I had that feeling, but then I also, unfortunately, had heard about some of the things that this person was saying about me, and actually walked in a couple times into a room where this person was, and they were, saying some negative things. And it really hurt me because I really wanted this person to like me, to approve of me, to care about me. And I'll just say it was a her. She really didn't. And she was somebody that was really close to somebody that I loved very much. And it was just so important to me that she accepted me too. So, long story short, I just started ruminating in my mind over her. Like, how dare her? Who's she? She calls herself this and she's doing this. And I was going to town with it. And she was renting so much space in my mind. I could have been doing so many other wonderful things with my time than worrying about this person and what she thought about me. Because ultimately, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day what other people think about you. What matters is what you think about you. And of course, that doesn't mean go out and be a jerk to people. But ultimately, who gives a darn? As long as you're a good person, you're doing the right things, people are always going to have opinions. Let them. But when you start allowing them to rent space in your mind, like I did, you're really doing yourself a disservice because, again, you could be doing so many other things. You could be writing your book. You could be going for a walk with your dog or your kids, or sitting down with your grandchildren, or playing with your kids, or going out to dinner with your mate, or who knows, washing your car. Sometimes we just get in that rut of ruminating and going on. And next thing you know, we spent an hour, being pissed off at this person who can give two craps anyways. So it's really a waste of time. So in any case, what I started doing is I started sitting down. I usually would, I wake up, I go do some meditation or yoga in the backyard. Pardon my puppy if you hear him. I'm recording in my room today. So what I started doing is, first thing when I woke up, I would, go into the backyard and just sit and quiet my mind, because I knew and I still do this, because I know if I don't do this at the beginning of the day, oh my gosh, the thoughts just keep coming and coming and coming and coming. And usually they're thoughts that I was thinking the day before, and that's usually what happens with all of us. So quieting the mind is awesome. That's just why meditation is so important and it's so helpful. So I'd sit and quiet my mind for a few minutes, and I would imagine this person. Literally put this person in my mind's eye, like visualize them as a human. And I would just put my hands out and just send love. Sometimes I'd even have to imagine I'd be like a cartoon character, like hearts just flying out of my, like red hearts flying out of my heart space, like going towards them and just smothering them. And send love. And then all of a sudden I have that negative thought again. Oh, better keep going. Send love. This particular person, I'm going to be honest with you, it probably took me 4 months of doing this practice every day before I literally just stopped thinking about them. And now when I do, if I do think about them, it's not a big deal at all. I honestly can care less. It feels so good, so free. I don't wish anything bad on this person, and I still send love, but I don't have to sit there every day and do it. And it's just so freeing. I had another situation where, anyhow, I could go on and on. I had to do this practice several times because I'm human, and we all are. And for the people that have possibly harmed any of you listening today in, a terrible way, I'm so sorry, because I too know what it feels like. But I do promise you that your healing will begin when you forgive. All right. That's today's topic. I truly hope that I've inspired at least someone out there to have a forgiveness practice and to practice the exercise that I spoke about from day 5 in Thoughts Can Heal, 30 daily practices to help heal anxiety. By the way, the book is available on Amazon, Walmart.com, BarnesandNobles.com. I will put a link in the show notes if you'd like to grab a copy. I'm excited to be announcing I'm launching a new book at the end of this month, which is September 2023. I'll talk more about that next time I jump on. But in the meantime, if you'd like, I always do end my podcast with a little breathing exercise just to help you calm your nervous system down, help bring peace to your mind and peace to your body. So as long as you're not driving, just get in a comfortable position. You could be sitting, you could be walking, you could be lying down in your bed or on a couch, doesn't matter. But of course, I don't want you driving because we're going to close our eyes for this one. And we're going to be inhaling in through our nose and exhaling out of our mouth. As we exhale out of our mouth, I want you to make a humming noise, like a something like that. Just bringing some vibration to the vocal cords. This is going to activate the vagus nerve, and it's going to send a signal to your mind that you are safe and everything's okay. Another thing, as you're exhaling out, if you can, I'd like you to exhale a little bit longer than your inhale. This too will also send a signal to the brain that you're safe and all is well. We're going to take 5 deep breaths together, and let's go ahead and begin. Inhale in through your nose. Exhale out. Inhale. Exhale out. Again, inhale in. Exhale out. Again, inhaling in. Long exhale out. One last time, nice deep breath in. Exhale out. All right, my friends, thank you again for showing up. And until next week, stay well, take care. Namaste.